Back on Marching to Madness this afternoon. We're back in the ACC with our good friend Kevin Keatts up at North Carolina State. The Wolfpack, 14-11 last year on the COVID battlefield that was last season. Coach, you had a string of 5 seasons there, 3 at NC State, 2 at UNC Wilmington, where you won 20-plus games. Of course, it was abbreviated last year.
Yeah, you know what, Ken? We had a great run of winning 20 games for I think it was 5 straight years. The last 2 at UNC Wilmington, then the first 3 here. And certainly we've had some success. Both programs we were able to turn around. We were on our way to having another good year last year. Then unfortunately, we had the injury to Devin Daniels, and then also COVID was really tough on not just us, but everybody in college basketball.
Yeah, it was tough, and we're still living in that world. I mean, your guys were 5-2 down the stretch, and you made it to the Final Four in the NIT, and you only had one home game in '07. So, I mean, did that help kind of galvanize your basketball team?
Well, I thought, when I looked at it, I want to say we were 4-8 in the conference.
Hmm.
After Devin, it took us a long time just to adjust to where we play. We kind of shifted our focus from more, guard-oriented team to throwing the ball inside to Manny Batts and DJ Funderburg. And it took us a while. It took some guys to adjust. We had to shift Jericole Hellems, who had been our, starting 4-man pretty much to playing small forward. And we inserted Dereon Seabron. Once we started getting a little time and practice time together, I thought we started playing really good basketball. And that's when we won basically 5 road games in a row to finish out the conference at 9-8 after being 4-8 in the conference.
Manny Bates, we know him as a shot blocking dynamo, but he became more offensive last year. What was the breakthrough point for him in doing that?
He's gotten better every year, and I say every year because it seems like because he's been here for 3 years, you would assume that he's played 3 years of basketball here at NC State. This was his second year, but he's improved. He improved his free throw shooting. He's better scoring the basketball over both shoulders. As a freshman, when he got a chance to get on the floor, he was a shot blocker and still is a shot blocker. But at the end of the day, he's worked extremely hard to improve his offensive game, and even more, he should show a little bit more this year. He's gotten better in a lot of areas, and his mentality has changed. As a freshman, he didn't want to score. He didn't look to score as much. But now, after his sophomore year, where he made the big jump, and then hopefully going into this year, he's looking for his offense more than he did in the past.
How did he get that much more confident in his offense?
I think our players started believing in him, and which
Mhm.
made him believe in himself. Also, when you get in the gym and you work on your game, it brings confidence during the game. Individual workouts and getting in there on your own, making shots. I think it helped his confidence as far as being a scorer in the game.
Yeah, and Jericole Hellems, you mentioned him earlier, 12 points, 5.9 rebounds. Now he's going to take over here as a leader, and I'm curious about your expectations of him with that added responsibility. I admire him because he stayed in step with your program. He's grown through the program, and now I think really good things are in store for him in the future.
Well, when you look at him, he's what college basketball used to be.
Yeah.
You take a guy from freshman to sophomore year to junior year, and they get better. And he's been patient, and he didn't make a mistake, but trying to go play professional early and wasn't ready. And he's gotten better. We expect a lot out of him. He's demonstrated that he can carry the load, especially when Devin went down. As a perimeter guy, and he's going to play more small forward than he does power forward this year because of the fact that he's earned the right. And he's the ultimate constant worker. He stays in the gym. He works every day. And so when it's game time, he's already put in that work to be successful.
Yeah, Cam Hayes, 7.8 points. He led you with 78 assists. Kind of had to take over a lot after, I guess, Devin went down there right on the point. How or how would he take on even more of a role with now he has maybe a bigger presence?
He had a great freshman year. When you look at that
Mhm.
many assists for a freshman, his assist to turnover ratio was outstanding. Averaging about 8 points a game in the toughest position to play in any league, especially as a freshman. And then, you think about his role last year. We were without Thomas Allen down the stretch. Braxton Beverly struggled with his back bothering him, and then Devin Daniels. So we lost really three guards that could have shared some of those duties. And he kind of got thrown in the fire, and he answered a lot of questions. He's gotten a lot better. The things that we've been working on with him is, he was really good behind the 3-point line, great 15 to 18-foot pull-up guy. Now the next part of his game is finishing around the basket, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line a lot more.
Yeah, are you looking at him to do that as much in the half court offense or maybe in the transition game?
Well, I like to see both.
Mhm.
If you don't, I told him the other day, I said, Cameron, we don't know you and we don't see you every day. We're not sure how athletic you are. And he's one of those guards at his size, 6'3", can go in and
Mhm.
finish above a lot of the bigger guys, but he hadn't shown that as a freshman. And that's where I think he's got to take his biggest step and maturity. And, a lot of times when freshmen come in, immaturity sometimes is a bad word to use. But they are immature,
Yeah.
both on and off the court. And, I think, being away from the home for the first time was an adjustment, even though he's close by. But he's taken a big jump in the summer going into his sophomore year.
Yeah, kids, whenever they make that adjustment going from high school where they played so much AAU ball and they saw a lot of these players, they're going to play against, is the curve for adjustment less now going high school and AAU to college?
I think it is. I mean, these guys play way more games than they
Mhm.
did 10 years ago. And I think some of the travel and playing those games, and some of these guys play on some really elite AAU teams, I think it helps them. So a lot of times, some of those guys come in a little bit more advanced than a freshman would 10 years ago.
Mhm. Dereon Seabron, breakout season maybe. He started 24 games for you, and played appreciable minutes. I think around 18 a game.
Yeah, you know what? He's getting better. He's the one guy that's long, athletic. At his size, 6'6", 6'7", he can play multiple positions for us. He's starting to understand how hard you have to work to be great at this level. He's getting better in a lot of areas. The one thing that we've worked with him on is to being able to improve his shot.
Kids, go to the next level in college. Do you find that as they work on their game more on the court, they're looking at film, maybe of themselves, of opponents, maybe an NBA player who they want to stylize their moves after?
Yeah, I think you have to add and to become a really good basketball player at this
Mhm.
level or any level, you have to become a student of the game. And I actually like it when guys take an NBA guy that they want to be like. I think it's great because you have goals. Now you have to figure out how do you get there. What we do with our guys is we do it by individual workouts. I love the way we develop our skill development is I think one of the best in the country. But we also use the opportunity to sit down with coaches and be able to watch film and show them where they get to get better. There are different type of learners. There's some guys that can watch film and get better at it, but some guys you got to physically put them on the court so they can understand the areas they need to grow in.
Now, you had a couple of really good transfers. I think Greg Gantt, right? And then Casey Morsell comes over from UVA. Now, I thought he never found his niche there because it feels to me like he's an offensive player waiting to explode. And I'm curious, your system, I think, is going to be more productive for him.
Yeah, I think when you look at both Casey and Greg, they both play for really good coaches and really good
Oh,
programs.
yeah. Hmm.
But I do think the way we play in certain areas, I think will help those guys be a little bit better, a little bit different than they were. And sometimes, to be honest with you, guys just need a fresh start. And both of those guys' situation, we're really excited to have them. We think both of them could have really good years for us, and we think that they both can bring something to the table to this program.
What skill sets are you looking to kind of move forward with both of them?
Well, I just think Greg has to be the junkyard dog that he was coming out of high school. He was a guy that always had a high motor. He never cared about position. He just went out there and played. He could guard multiple positions. I think if he gets back to that and he's hungry in that way, then everything else will fall in place. With Casey, one of the things is, he when you look at his 3-point percentage, he didn't shoot the ball well at all at Virginia. I think that's one of the things he has to improve on. Also, he's as far as handling the basketball. At Virginia, they had some really good guards that were smaller that could handle the basketball. With us, he's going to have a chance to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. And so, if both of those guys can improve, you're talking about two top 100 guys coming out of high school, and Casey in some publications may have been a top 50 guy. And so, we just want to get them back to where they were and have them playing the same way they were coming out of high school. And really, to be honest with you, both have to get back being hungry.
Now, I've heard a lot of things, really good things about Quavion Smith. I'm curious, as he's such a scorer, is it possible that he could find his way in a starting position or at least like the rotational eight, top eight?
Yeah, Quavion is
Right.
a unbelievable scorer. But he's a little bit more than that. He plays hard. He's a great competitor. He's probably besides Seabron, he's probably our best paint touch guy. He will. He's one of those guys because his ability to score the basketball, it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor. And he will compete for a starting job. And he knows that. And I like the way that, he goes about business every day. Of course, he's a freshman. He's got a lot of things that he still has to learn day to day, how hard you got to go doing workouts and individuals. But when you throw that ball up and you tip and it's about competition, he's a competitive dude now.
Mhm. How does he get the biggest sum of his buckets?
Well, he scores in a variety of ways. He can
Mhm.
get out in transition. He can get in the passing lane. He's got the 15 to 18 foot pull up jump shot, and then he can step behind the 3-point line and shoot it comfortably.
Schedule release. You got a really challenging non-conference schedule. In addition, of course, to the ACC, you got Oklahoma State, Purdue, Richmond, Louisiana Tech as 4 non-conference battles. You saw the Bulldogs there in the NIT last year.
Yeah, we wanted to beef it up, and if you just glance at it as a common fan, you might not realize how good it is. 6 of those teams were top 100 teams. You even add Colgate when you look at what they did in the net, even though they didn't play outside of their conference. But we wanted a schedule that would challenge us, that put us in a situation that, because we're already playing 20 ACC games plus the Big Ten Challenge, we wanted a non-conference schedule that would challenge us and that the committee could look at the end of the year and say these guys played against some of the top teams in their league. And I chuckle when people say, "Oh man, who are these teams?" And I would warn them to go look them up and see how they played in their league, and I think they would understand more.
Yeah, it takes more than just looking at names, man. Because I break a lot of these teams down, and it's amazing the talent now in college basketball at all levels.
Absolutely. And, we were one of those teams with my teams at UNC Wilmington. If you just saw us as UNC Wilmington, you would have thought we wasn't very good. You would just think we were just one of those teams because there's so many teams in North Carolina. But when you researched and saw the way we played and the success we had, you would understand that that's a tough team to play against.
Yeah, we saw Devontae Kaycock out there in that summer league team with the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, doing a good job. Last thing, Coach, you're of course in the heart of ACC with one of the prototypical jobs and one of the prototypical places. I just wanted to get your thoughts as you battled Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski. Your thoughts on them now retiring. I mean, it's kind of like the rotation, you know, of the conference or something. It's going to be strange.
Well, let's say this: both of Coach K and Roy have both done a lot for college basketball. They both have been very successful in their programs, and they've done a good job at UNC and also Duke. And I'm excited for them for making the choice on their own to decide to leave out and spend more time with family. Typically, you don't get that of two guys who are Hall of Famers. But they are leaving two programs that have great tradition in basketball. And I think the two guys that they hired are, you know, two really good, sharp coaches that are going to be really good. So it'll be a little different. You know, looking over there at UNC without Roy being on the sideline this year and then in the future with Coach K. But certainly I'm the NC State coach. And so, you know, we're excited about what we have.
Yeah. Coach Kevin Keatts, always fun, Coach, catching up with you. I love watching your teams play, and I wish you the best, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you having me on.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you.
See you, brother.
See you, brother. Take care.